Then the flames consumed him again, and his cry echoed, "Tell them, Kareem! Tell them before they join me!"
The air that night in Cairo was unusually cold for June. The muezzin's call to prayer echoed from a distance, rising like a haunting wail between the buildings. The streets were quiet except for the sound of ambulance sirens weaving through the darkness. Inside one of those ambulances lay a man who had spent his entire life defending the faith of Islam. Karim Hassan, a 50-year-old religious leader, respected by his community, feared by his enemies, and revered by his followers. Karim had fallen sick just 2 weeks earlier. Nothing too serious, or so everyone thought. A mild fever, chest pain, and fatigue. But as the days passed, his condition worsened. Doctors said it was a heart complication. His wife, Amina, was at his bedside, holding his hand tightly, whispering prayers into his ear. His 2 sons stood silently at the corner of the hospital room, tears welling in their eyes. The monitors beeped, then slowed, and before anyone could say another word, Kareem was gone. For the next 35 minutes, his body lay lifeless on the hospital bed. The doctors declared his time of death. But what no one knew was that Kareem was not dead, at least not completely. For in those 35 minutes, something happened that defied reason, shook his beliefs to the core, and changed his eternity forever. When he returned, the doctors called it a miracle. His family called it a second chance. But to Kareem, it was something else entirely. It was judgment. It was revelation. It was the truth he had denied all his life. His return shook Cairo. He began to tell everyone what he saw beyond the veil. The mosques that once welcomed him now turned their backs. His students called him a blasphemer. His friends accused him of madness. But Kareem stood firm, trembling with the weight of what he had witnessed. He said heaven was real, but not as he had preached it. He said hell burned hotter than any fire on earth, and it was full, not just of unbelievers, but of many who had claimed to follow God but never knew him. He said he saw his brother, his younger brother Ahmad, in that place of torment, crying out words that still haunt him to this day. And he said he met a man in white, whose eyes burned with love and truth. A man who told him that he was the only way, the only truth, and the only life. As he began to speak, his voice trembled, but his message was clear. What he saw cannot be forgotten, and what he heard cannot be unsaid. Let's hear from Kareem.
When I opened my eyes, I wasn't in the hospital anymore. At first, I thought I was dreaming. I could still hear faint voices, my wife crying, the doctors rushing, but their voices were fading, as if they were being pulled far away from me. Then there was silence. I stood in complete darkness. No ground beneath me, no sound. Just an emptiness so thick I could feel it pressing against my chest. Then, suddenly, a light appeared in the distance, small like a star, then growing brighter, wider, until it engulfed me completely. I felt myself being lifted, gently, effortlessly, by something unseen. My body felt weightless. My sickness, my pain, all gone. And then I began to move, faster and faster, through what seemed like a tunnel of light. It wasn't frightening at first, but then I began to hear something, like screams, wails, the cries of countless souls echoing through eternity. I tried to cover my ears, but my hands passed through nothing. The sound grew louder, unbearable. The light suddenly split into 2 directions. To my left was darkness, burning red with fire and smoke. To my right was a radiance so pure I could hardly look at it. A voice, deep and commanding, said, "Kareem, look to your left." I turned. What I saw froze my soul. There were flames, higher than any mountain I had seen. Inside them were faces, men and women crying, screaming, begging for mercy. The smell of burning flesh filled the air, but the bodies never died. They burned but did not turn to ash. I saw people I recognized, some who had been religious teachers, imams, elders from the mosque. One of them was my brother, Ahmed. Ahmed died 10 years ago from a car accident. I remembered praying for him, believing he was resting in peace. But when he saw me, he screamed, "Kareem, why are you here? Why are you looking into this place? Go back, warn them all." I tried to reach for him, but a great hand of light blocked me. Ahmed's eyes were full of pain, and he shouted again, "We were wrong. We worshipped what we did not know. We thought we served God, but we served fear and pride. Warn them before it's too late." Then the flames consumed him again, and his cry echoed, "Tell them, Kareem, tell them before they join me." I fell to my knees, trembling. I cried out, "Allah, save my brother, please." But the voice from above said, "He had his chance. He denied the truth when it was given to him." I turned to the right, the light brighter than the sun. A gentle wind blew across me, and I felt peace. I saw children playing, singing, laughing. They glowed like stars, pure, beautiful, filled with joy. I saw some older faces too, men and women clothed in white garments, their faces full of peace. A man walked toward me, tall, radiant, wearing a robe so bright I could not see its seams. His eyes pierced through me, yet filled me with warmth. When he spoke, his voice was like thunder wrapped in love. "Kareem," he said, "you have been zealous for what you did not understand. You sought truth, but your eyes were blinded by tradition." I trembled before him. "Who are you?" I asked. He smiled. "I am the one whom your prophets spoke of, though they did not know me. I am the way, the truth, and the life." I fell on my face. "Jesus?" I whispered. He knelt beside me, lifted my chin, and said, "Yes, Kareem, I am he." Tears streamed down my face. "But I taught against you. I told people you were just a prophet." He looked at me with eyes that saw everything. "You spoke what you were taught, but now you have seen. Islam cannot save you. No religion can. Only I can." His words pierced through me. "Then why show me this?" I asked. "Because you will go back. You will warn them. Many will hate you, but some will hear. Tell them I am coming soon, and every soul must choose." He stretched out his hand toward me. "Look again." In a flash, I saw multitudes, countless souls, burning, shouting, pleading for another chance. And among them were both Muslims and Christians, those who had claimed faith but lived in hypocrisy, those who denied the truth out of pride. I asked, "Why are so many here?" Jesus said, "Because they loved their religion more than the truth. They built walls instead of hearts. They recited words, but never knew me. Then he turned my face back to the light. "Look at them," he said. The children, the humble, those who had believed in him, they sang songs of peace. He said, "Unless one becomes like these, he cannot enter my Father's kingdom." At that moment I fell again, crying, "Forgive me, Lord, I have led so many astray." He placed his hand over my heart and said, "You are forgiven, but your work has just begun. Go and tell them what you saw." Then the light around me began to fade. I felt myself falling, faster and faster, until I heard distant voices again. "He's breathing! His heart is back!" I gasped, opening my eyes, drenched in sweat. The doctors stared in shock. My wife screamed. I was alive, but I was no longer the same. When I returned to life, everything felt different. The hospital room was the same walls, same monitors, same faces, but the air around me had changed. It felt heavier, charged with something unseen. My wife, Amina, held me and wept uncontrollably, thanking Allah, calling it a miracle. But I could not speak. My tongue felt frozen, my heart racing with fear and awe. The doctors ran tests, confused at how a man with no pulse for 35 minutes could wake up with a steady heartbeat and clear vision. They said it was impossible. One of them whispered, "He should be brain dead." But I wasn't. I was more awake than I'd ever been. For 2 days, I lay silent. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Ahmed, my brother, screaming in the flames. His voice echoed in my mind. "Warn them, Kareem! Warn them before they join me!" On the 3rd day, I told Amina, "I saw something I must tell you." She smiled, thinking I was about to describe a dream of paradise. But when I told her what I had seen, heaven, hell, and Jesus, her face changed. She pulled her hand away from mine and whispered, "Astaghfirullah, what are you saying?" "I saw him," I said. "I saw Isa. He spoke to me. He told me the truth about everything." Her lips trembled. "You were delirious. You mustn't say these things, Kareem. People will think you've gone mad. You're an imam. You have a reputation." But I couldn't hold it in. I called for my sons, Hassan and Omar. When they came, I told them the same story. Omar, my eldest, shouted, "Father, stop this nonsense. You dishonor us." But Hassan stared at me quietly, tears welling in his eyes. "Father," he said softly, "I believe you saw something. But why would Jesus—" I interrupted. "Because he is alive. He is not just a prophet. He is the Lord, the one who holds the keys of heaven and hell." That night, the whispers began. My wife told her brother, who told a friend at the mosque. Within days, the whole neighborhood knew. People came to the hospital pretending to visit, but they came to stare, to judge. Some called me the mad imam. Others said I was possessed. The head of the mosque where I had preached for 20 years came to see me. His name was Sheikh Farid, a man I once admired. He sat beside me and said coldly, "Kareem, I heard troubling things about what you've been saying. Tell me it's not true." I looked him in the eyes and said, "Everything I said is true. Islam is not what we think it is. I saw the truth with my own eyes. I saw Jesus." He frowned deeply. "Jesus? Isa? You mean the prophet of Bani Israel?" "No," I said. "I mean the risen Lord, the one who holds the keys of heaven and hell.
Farid stood abruptly. "Enough," he shouted. "You are speaking kufr. You shame yourself and your family." I tried to plead with him. "Farid, I saw you too." He froze. "What?" I said, "In that place, in hell, I saw you crying out. You were burning, begging for mercy." His face turned pale. "You lie." "I wish I were lying," I said quietly. "Jesus told me many religious men will be there because they led people away from the truth, not toward it." Farid stormed out, shouting, "You are no longer one of us, Kareem. May Allah curse your tongue." That night, the threats began. Someone wrote on my door, "Apostate, traitor." Stones were thrown at our window. My sons begged me to stop speaking, but I couldn't. I began to write down everything I remembered, every word, every vision. I wrote about the children in heaven, the way they sang and played in gardens that glowed with living light. I wrote about the voice of Jesus, how his words could shake mountains but still soothe the heart. And I wrote about Ahmed. 3 nights after my return, I saw Ahmed again. Not in a dream, but as a vision so vivid I could feel the heat from the flames. He stood on the edge of a fiery pit, reaching towards me, though chains bound his hands. He said, "Kareem, you have little time. They will try to silence you. But you must not fear. What you saw is true. Tell them I was religious but never knew God. I fasted, I prayed, I gave zakat, but my heart was proud. I mocked Jesus. I called him just a man. Now I know he is the truth we rejected." I wept, screaming, "Ahmed, can't you be forgiven?" He shook his head, tears of flame streaming down his face. "It's too late for me, but not for you. Tell them, Kareem, tell our people, Jesus is Lord." Then he vanished in smoke. I woke up trembling, shouting his name. Amina rushed to me, terrified. When I told her what I saw, she said, "You're cursed. These are demons deceiving you." She took my Quran and began to recite verses over me, but the more she prayed, the more I wept. The next morning, I received a call from one of my old disciples, Yusuf. He whispered, "Kareem, they are talking about removing you from the council. Some want to arrest you. They say you've been converted." I sighed. Let them. I cannot go back to lies. Yusuf hesitated. "But what if they kill you?" I answered, "Then I will see him again." A week later, I was invited to speak at the mosque. Secretly, I knew it was a trap, but I went anyway. When I entered, hundreds of eyes glared at me. The air was tense. Farid stood at the pulpit. "Brothers, our former leader, Karim, has been deceived by the enemy. He claims to have seen Isa in heaven. He claims that Islam is false. Shall we tolerate such blasphemy?" The crowd roared, "No!" He turned to me. "Do you deny these claims?" I looked around the room, faces I had taught for decades, men who once kissed my hand in respect. I said quietly, "No, I do not deny them. Everything I said is true. I saw heaven, I saw hell, and I saw that only those who follow Jesus, the Son of God, enter paradise." Chaos erupted. Men shouted, threw sandals and books. I was dragged out, beaten, spat on. Someone shouted, "Kill the apostate!" Another shouted, "Let him burn like his lies!" I was left bleeding in the street, but as I lay there, I felt peace. The same peace I had felt in the light, I heard again that same voice in my heart. Blessed are you when they persecute you for my name's sake. I smiled through the blood. Lord, I whispered, I will not be silent. That night, Hassan, my younger son, came to me secretly. Father, he said, they've forbidden us from speaking to you. Mother says you're cursed, but when you talk, something stirs inside me. I want to know more about this Jesus. I held his hand and said, You will know him, my son. He loves you. He is not far from you.
After that night in the mosque, my life in Cairo ended. Everything I had built, my home, my name, my ministry, was gone within days. The council stripped me of my title, my students turned against me, even my wife refused to see me. I remember standing outside my own gate, bleeding from wounds that still hadn't healed, listening to Amina's voice through the door. Go, Karim! You have brought shame upon us. You are no longer my husband. I pleaded, Amina, please, listen to me one last time. Jesus is real. He loves you. But she shouted back, You are possessed. Leave us! Then the door slammed. The echo of that sound cut deeper than any blade. I walked through the streets that night, weak and trembling. The city lights blurred through my tears. I had nowhere to go, no one to trust. My family had disowned me, the mosque had rejected me, and the police were looking for me for disturbing religious peace. For 3 nights, I hid near the River Nile, under a broken bridge. I had no food, no money, just the clothes I wore. But my heart was burning, not with anger, but with fire. The same fire I had seen in the eyes of Jesus. On the 4th night, as I lay awake, I heard footsteps. 3 men approached. I recognized 2 of them. They were members of my former mosque. One held a knife. Kareem, one said, you should have kept your mouth shut. Now you will learn what happens to those who betray the faith. I didn't move. I was too weak to run. I only said, if you kill me, my blood will cry out the name of Jesus. They lunged forward. The knife flashed in the dark. I raised my arm to shield myself, but before the blade could strike, a blinding light filled the place under the bridge. It was like lightning, but soft, holy. The men froze, screaming, covering their eyes. I heard a voice, the same voice I had heard in heaven. Fear not, Karim. Your time is not yet. When I looked up, the light took form. It was him, Jesus. His robe glowed brighter than the moon. His eyes pierced through the night. The men ran, stumbling, dropping the knife, shouting sorcery. I fell on my knees, trembling. Lord, you came to me again. He reached out his hand. I never left you. When you suffer for my name, I am near. I began to weep uncontrollably. Lord, I have lost everything. He said, you have not lost me. Then he pointed toward the horizon. Go to the south, Karim. You will find people waiting for truth. Tell them what you saw. I asked, but who will believe me? He smiled. The humble will, the broken will, for to them belongs my kingdom. And then he was gone. The light faded. I was alone again. But I wasn't the same. I picked up the knife from the ground. It was dull, almost rusted, but I kept it as a reminder that death tried to reach me and mercy blocked it. I began my journey south, walking, sometimes hitching rides on trucks, sleeping by roadsides. My body was weak, but my spirit burned stronger every day. Along the way, I met travelers, beggars, and refugees. When I told them what I had seen, some mocked me, but others, they listened. One night, I sat by a small fire with a group of young men escaping war. I shared my story, how I died, how I saw heaven and hell, how Jesus forgave me. When I finished, one of them asked quietly, "If he forgave you, will he forgive us?" I said, "Yes, that's why he sent me back." We prayed together under the stars. For the first time since my death, I felt joy again. Weeks passed. I reached a small desert village near Aswan. The people there had heard rumors, a madman who spoke of heaven and Jesus. When I entered, they gathered around me. The imam of that village, an old man with tired eyes, came forward and said, "Are you the one who saw paradise?" I said, "Yes, but not paradise as we imagined." He frowned, "And what did you see?" I took a deep breath. I saw that heaven is full of children, innocent, pure, forgiven. I saw that hell is full of men who were religious but proud, who spoke of God but never knew his love. I saw my brother there. And I saw Jesus, who told me that no one comes to the Father except through him. The old man stared at me in silence. Then tears filled his eyes. "I lost my daughter last year," he whispered. "If what you say is true, she is in peace." I nodded. "She is, if she was innocent. The children belong to him." He lowered his head and said, "Then tell me more about this Jesus." For 3 days I stayed in that village, sharing everything I had seen. I spoke of the gardens of light, the laughter of the children, the songs that filled the air. I told them how Jesus' presence filled everything, how his love was not a religion, but a living fire. But news traveled fast. Within a week, men from Cairo came looking for me, religious officers. They entered the village with armed guards. I was hiding in the house of the old imam when they shouted through the streets, "Where is the apostate, the one who insults Islam?" The imam looked at me trembling. "Go. If they find you here, they will kill you and me." I stood up and placed my hand on his shoulder. "Thank you, my brother. If you ever remember me, remember what I said. Jesus saves." Then I fled into the desert. The sun was merciless. I walked for hours, then days without food or water. I thought I would die again. My tongue swelled, my vision blurred. I fell to the sand whispering, "Lord, am I to die here?" Then I heard a faint whisper in the wind, "I am with you, even to the end." Moments later, I saw something ahead, an oasis. I dragged myself toward it, thinking it was a mirage, but it was real. A small group of Bedouins found me there. They gave me water, bread, and shade. One of them, a woman with kind eyes, asked me, "Who are you?" I said softly, "A man who saw death and found life." She nodded slowly. "Then you have seen more than most." I stayed with them for some time. I helped them with small tasks, told them stories of my past. At night, they would gather around and ask me to tell the story again. The light, the voice, the man in white. Some cried, some smiled. One young man said, "If this Jesus is truth, then I want to know him." And right there in the sand, under the stars of the desert, we prayed together. Years passed. My beard turned white. My body grew frail. But every time I spoke of that 35 minutes in eternity, it was as though I was still there. And now, as I tell you my story, I feel the same voice inside me whispering again, "Soon, Karim, your journey is almost over." Before I end, I must tell you one last thing Jesus said to me in that place of light. He looked into my eyes and said, "Tell them, Karim, that I am not the God of religion, but the Lord of truth. Tell them that heaven is not for those who boast of righteousness, but for those who humble themselves and believe. Tell them that I died for them, not for a tribe, not for a nation, but for the world." Then he said, "You will be hated, but fear not. Every tear you shed, I will wipe away. And when your time comes, I will receive you myself." And now I wait for that day. If you are hearing my voice, know this: religion cannot save you. Prayers, rituals, laws, they cannot cleanse the heart. Only the one who gave his life for you can do that. His name is Jesus. Heaven is real. Hell is real. I have seen both. And the choice belongs to every soul still breathing. I am Karim Hassan. I was dead, but I live again to tell you that the light I saw was not a dream. It was the truth.